Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first of what are several assessment coordinator meetings. We've got a fairly short agenda today because we don't have a lot of issues going on right now, but I want to touch on a few, but then also provide you with resources for you to use and know that we are here for you. So I'm going to get started with sharing my screen and we will get going on the presentation. So again, my name is Tim Peterson. I'm the Director of Assessment for the Madison Metropolitan School District. And as such, the team that I'm on really oversees all the widespread, large-scale assessments for the district. And if we don't oversee that, well, at least we know the people who do. So if there are questions or concerns or issues, make sure that you connect with us. So today what we want to do is we want to spend a little bit of time knowing who, getting an introduction, a short introduction to those people that you're going to be working with throughout the year. We'll be taking a look at some of the resources that are available to you now and throughout the rest of the year. And then we'll talk briefly about our office hours. We'll jump into our fall screeners, which are underway. And I know that iReady and Achieve both have some questions around them. We'll talk about how to get answers, but also hopefully I have a solution that just was shared briefly a little while ago by Tech Services for the class link items that may be going on. Part of the team is also that we want to make sure that we support you from not only just the assessment administration, but also data use. So without using the data, why give the assessment? So it's important that you understand where you can get some support with using the data from each of the assessments. And finally, we'll be just taking a look at what's out in the future. We'll be looking at climate survey just briefly. We'll be talking about these. We'll get more details in our next meeting. So finally, and at the end, we'll close with some questions. So the people that are supporting you and will be doing so throughout the year, the assessment team is myself and Sarah Wollner, who is the assessment technician. So between the two of us, we are the first, there's Sarah, we are the first connections with a lot of the assessment itself. We do the technical behind the scenes work. And again, if we don't know a answer to a question, we know typically who will know the answer. On the data use side, Nicole Schaefer, who is also the director of summer semester, when she's not doing summer semester work, she is busy supporting middle schools with data use collection and protocols and support. So Nicole, thank you. We always have questions about what are the accommodations that students can have. And I think over the years, our work with Peg Moran Hussein in student services has really kind of moved us to a place where there are fewer questions. And when there are, though, she is absolutely on the spot with answers and can support you and your team with any questions or concerns that you have with accommodations. Likewise, in multilingual programs, Ben Kolash is our go-to person for anything having to do with English learners and DLI data, but also DLI itself is Melissa Vasquez. So again, we've got a group of people here at Central Office that are supporting you. And if you have questions, let us know. We often will get a question and then send out an email quickly to the person who knows the answer, and we'll get a response for you. Okay, so what I want to do is briefly show you some of the resources that you have available to you. We're going to go to the assessment website and just kind of lay out how it looks and where you can go for some solutions. So let's see if we can get this open. I'm going to hopefully get this into another screen. Okay. So we're in the process of updating and changing our assessment website so that it is actually a little more approachable. But in general, mmsd.org/assessments or madison.k12.wi.us/assessments will get you to this page. It typically is divided into a couple different sections. So here is middle school. We have a section that is public facing for families, and we have a section that is for staff. Typically the difference is there's more content, more detailed information on the staff side than on the family side. But you can see we've got some data use, we've got diagnostic, we've got calendars, and state and federal accountability is all here as well. If you want information about our department, the Assessment and Learning Supports Department, it's here. Also, if there are ever some security issues that you want to remain anonymous but need to point out, there is an anonymous test security issue page. If we click on the staff, we'll go there, and I'll kind of just give you a brief layout of how this all looks and where it is. So we've broken this down by assessments by grade. So on the left, you'll see that we have assessments that are for all sixth graders. And then on the right, we have assessments for some sixth graders. So for instance, access testing or Apple testing is typically for only a few sixth graders, not all of them. And the same thing is true for seventh and eighth grade. Also in data use, there are different protocols. There are different things from last year that we're updating. So there is more information there for you. You scroll down, you'll see resources, and we'll take a look at some of these in a moment, but the expanded middle school calendar, as well as the assessment coordinator's resource page, which you might find pretty handy. And then at the bottom, we've got assessments by name. So all of the assessments that are given at middle school, I believe are here. If not, we'll get them all on here. I don't see Achieve, we'll get that on here, but we'll have them all by name listed there shortly. The thing that I would like to point out for you is the assessment coordinator's resource page. By clicking there, you will get to see the page that's got the agendas. So we have a running agenda, which we will just add the October meeting agenda to the top of this one when we're done. You can always go back. Sarah, thankfully, is keeping notes and keeping track of that. And we also have in here the slide deck for the meeting. So if you want the slide deck that we're working from today, we can certainly get that for you. So Sarah's got this linked in the agenda as well. On this page, you will also find the coordinator, the assessment coordinator middle school calendar. So what we've done is we've put in this calendar for the entire year when windows open and close on the district level, not in your building, but on the district level. So you can get at a glance, you can see what's going on. You can also see the middle school assessment meetings when there are no testing dates. To add this to your calendar, at the bottom, you'll see a plus sign next to Google Calendar. And by scrolling over that, add to Google Calendar. Click that, and it will now be one of the calendars that is on your daily Google Calendar. Likewise, on the right-hand side of this, we've got the planning calendars. So the document I sent out a little while ago, just to kind of give you a heads up as to what are some of the steps involved. We'll continue to update that document and send that out on a regular basis. The next one should come out in about a week or so, pushing things forward into October as dates become more and more clear as to what's going to happen. And finally, for those of you who like to go back in time, we have our archives of all our meetings from last year on here. All right. So those are the big resources that we have on the web page. I think Sarah, do you know if there's anything else that I missed on here?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the, I think I'm going to go back to my resources screen. So I shared with you a couple of those pages. On the assessment pages individually, there will be lists of accommodations that are up to date, kind of how-to documents. So for instance, there's always a how to print tickets for access, for instance. So there's a document like that. There are several documents that might be helpful to you if you have not been through this before. When you have a question, if there's an issue in your building, such as there's no internet connection, or you get some kind of a strange technical question, that would be the time that I would connect with Incident IQ. So there's no, we can't get any of our Chromebooks to work. You can send us an email, but then also Incident IQ is there for you as well. I'm going to share with you a couple other resources that I would like you to take a look at. Let's see, I want to make sure that, all right. So the next resource that I have for you is we have group emails that are kind of like a one-stop shop for you and your team, so that you can get specific information from specific people. So if you are using WIDA Screener right now, if you've used access testing and done access testing in the past, we've shared with you, send us an email at widascreener@Madison, etc. Want to just share with you who this goes to, so that you're aware this goes to myself and Sarah, as well as Ben Kolash. So we get technical answers from myself and Sarah, but you get more detailed, specific information about the nuances of how to give it, when to give it, who gets what, etc. The expert is Ben. Likewise, if you have an iReady question, the same thing is true. So iReady@Madison will get you Sarah and myself on the technical support, Nicole on the data use side, and Caitlin Palazzo, who is the new person in CNI who supports middle school math. So that's how you can get a hold of us. So typically, you don't have to address any of us individually. So if you have a question for iReady, you can send it to iReady@, and then we'll try and get to sort out which one of the four of us has the expertise to answer your question. So for instance, if it's student is not rostered, well, that would be something that Sarah and I can take care of. If you have a question about who needs what, that might be a Caitlin question. What data can I use and how can I use it? How can I get it? That would be a Nicole question, but all four of us together can respond to iReady. The same thing is true for Achieve. So in this particular case, again, it's myself and Sarah, Nicole on data, and Therese Hastings, who is there to support from curriculum and instruction. And I realize that you're not doing fast testing, but you are doing, potentially you have people who are progress monitoring using FAST in your buildings. And so we have the same thing with FAST@. So those are ways that you can get pretty quick responses specifically to these questions that are more about some of the ins and outs of how the specific assessment itself works. There are larger technical issues that we might have to say, sorry, this is a tech services, and we'll steer you back to Incident IQ, but you can also email us here. And finally, the last resource I want to share, this is also listed, provided in the agenda today. But we have a department of the Assessment and Learning Supports Department office hours. Every Monday from 2 to 3, you can Zoom in and we have somebody who's there. Everybody is at least a chat away from being pulled into the office hours. So if you have specific questions for Nicole, but she's not there on that day, we can get her there pretty quickly. So this is a way that you can connect with any of us in our department. If this time does not work for you, please don't hesitate to connect with us and to let us know that, yeah, I couldn't make office hours, but I do have questions. So we'll work to make sure that you have the support that you need. Okay, let's take a look at the fall screeners. Now, I do need to preface this by saying there have been staff changes in the curriculum instruction department that have left us with less than the expertise that I want us to have for iReady and for Achieve. We've been working on at moving part of the support of iReady and Achieve 3000 to the Assessment and Learning Supports team. It's a work in progress. So I just want you to know that we're working on it hard to learn this stuff so that we can be of best support for you. So please be patient, but don't hesitate to ask the questions. So we all know that iReady, we're using Diagnostic Screener this year. Window opened last Monday and it closes on the 30th. We know that it takes approximately an hour. iReady is something that connects with IC every night. So if there are student roster changes, that will happen. Student arrives today, is enrolled. Tomorrow they will be ready they will be rostered in IC. That is also true as we're trying to work out some of these initial kind of bugs in the system. If a staff member is in IC as teaching a mathematics section, they are automatically given the iReady icon. However, there are several schools that say, well, we're surrounding our students with support. Even though my science teacher is not in iReady, I want them to be. We're working through that to try and make sure that everybody who needs to have that information gets that. So if you have questions or concerns, or if you have staff members that need to, it's like, I used to be able to do this, I really need to, send an email to iReady and we'll start taking care of that. Before I go to the class link fix, I want to just share that winter screening is optional. It's not a required optional. It is optional. We're not pulling data at the district level. If you are using it as part of your SIP plan, or if you've got specific groups of students that you want to use, that it makes sense to do this in the winter, there will be a winter window for you to screen. But make sure you understand that this is optional and it is by school building. So it's not optional in the sense of one teacher in one grade can do this. It's going to be at least a grade level, if not the entire building, or not. So, all right. Connectivity issues with ClassLink. I've had cases where people have said, I don't have a ClassLink icon. Students don't have ClassLink icons. It was there yesterday. They tested for 75 minutes, almost finished. It's gone today. First of all, if any student starts testing in iReady or Achieve for that matter, and actually gets to a point where they have to stop, and then the next day the icon is gone, their work is not lost. It still remains in the assessment tool. Now, how to get that icon back. Because this is a global issue with ClassLink, it is something that ClassLink, the vendor, is working on. It is not an MMSD issue, but the career or technical services just sent this out. So I am going to make sure you see how to do this. So here is the solution to the ClassLink icon bug. You can force it so that it will refresh itself by simply dragging an icon from one location to another. So here you can see that they are moving Google Classroom from one side, from one side of the other to the other of Gmail. And when it does that, it refreshes the ClassLink screen so that you are able to then see all the icons that are supposed to be there. Didn't work for you? Okay. Yeah, if you try it and it works for you, let us know. Same thing. Kathleen says that it did not work for you, and we'll share that with tech services. Again, this is not an issue that is of their making, but it is something that is global, in fact. Languages that are available to take, let's see, what languages are available except Spanish to take iReady. So iReady is, I believe, is English and Spanish only. Again, I'm new to this, so please, if I am wrong, somebody jump in and correct me, because that would be something, and that's part of my learning curve. Okay, so again, try that out with ClassLink. Try moving an icon from one spot to another. If it works, let me know. If it doesn't work, let me know, because I will be sharing this information with tech services pretty rapidly. I'm getting a lot of, I've been picking up Incident IQ tickets, and I've been getting a lot. So I would prefer to have that lower, that slow down. So just so you know, I'm here to make sure that this gets communicated. All right, let's go on. So Achieve 3000 level set, again, the same window, except there were issues with rostering. So I'm going to tell you that the window, even though it opened on the 6th, we didn't get the rosters uploaded until I think the 8th. It opened on the 9th. So we're going to extend the window. So it really started this week, just yesterday. We're going to extend this to October 7th. So again, what we're trying to do is trying to make sure it's the same amount of time that you have to do this. So because of the rostering issues at the beginning of the year, we're going to extend it to the 7th of October. We are working with the CNI team closely to support you. Again, Achieve 3000 connects every night. If there are staffing issues, same thing that's true with iReady. If you've got some staffing issues that, like, I could see it before, I can't now, other than ClassLink, please let me know. And we'll, again, do our best to get that taken care of as quickly as possible. So any questions right now about iReady or Achieve level set, Achieve 3000 level set, before we move forward? Okay, let's keep going. So data use. Again, my philosophy is, if we're not going to use the data, why are we giving the assessment? So the data, the administration itself has to be good, so that we can trust the data that comes from it. But then also the question becomes, how do you use the data? So we have a data use team, and Nicole Schaefer supports middle schools. On this page, I will make sure that we also put this in the notes, but there is a data support request survey. So let me just click on that so that you see what it is. It's a Google form, and it's basically where are you at? And then what kind of data support are you requesting? So anything from planning and a data analysis meeting to facilitating or co-facilitating that to working in EduClimber, et cetera. These are all options. And then there's, of course, there's the other. We need to know what kind of timeline you have that you're going to be working with. So if you say, well, I need this by tomorrow, that might be something of concern, but please know that we're working to support you at all times. So this is a data request form that goes to our data use team, and they are then there to reach out to you and help you with that. On the horizon, things that are coming this year and that are fairly short time frame within the next month and a half. We will be, the district will be giving the climate survey. I will get you more details at our next meeting, but it will be done twice this year, once in the fall, once in the spring. The survey itself has been changing ever so slightly to align more with nationally aligned climate surveys, because what that will allow us to do is to say, not only how are we doing in our building, how are we doing in the district, how are we doing on a broader scale? As we look across the nation, are we doing better, the same, or worse in specific areas? So the research and innovation team has been building and rebuilding and modeling and working on the climate survey for some time. And hopefully you'll be able to see some of that difference in the questions that you will see later this fall for the climate survey. They will be working with us to ensure that as many students as possible get that opportunity to take that. The Apple assessment, for those of you who have no idea what that has nothing to do with Delicious or Macintosh. It does have a whole lot to do with language proficiency. Later on, we'll be, well, at the bottom of this, you can see there's the Access test for English language learners, which is an English language proficiency test. 4 parts that is used by state and federal, as well as the district, to look at how are we doing for bringing those students along who don't speak English and to where they are speaking English as fluently as they can, and not only speaking, but listening, reading, and writing. Apple is a similar kind of assessment, only this one is in multiple languages. So we will pick, for instance, for our dual language immersion and DBE programs, we'll be picking Apple in Spanish. So how are our students progressing as they are surrounded by, immersed in that other language? When we get to high school, this also will be something that is being given on to world language classes and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th levels, as well as AP. There are different components. There are 4 components, just like there is for Access. And it is, again, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And so to the grade 6 and 7 students in DLI, DBE, they will be getting only one of those 4 different components. They'll have a kind of an interactive speaking and listening. Grade 8 will take all 4 of the domains because they're stepping into high school. The results will be back within about 2 weeks after this assessment is given. And so we'll be able to to share data not only with staff, but also with students and families after that. More details on that will be coming up in our October meeting. And then again, Access for ELS, the English Language Proficiency Assessment, that window opens December 1st. You don't have to worry about doing anything yet. When it comes time, we'll be explaining what are the steps that need to be taken within your school building in preparation for the Access tests. Yes, again, Emily, your question is Apple only for DLI, DLI and DBE, correct. Okay, so we're going to pause here. Here is our contact information. If you want to email us directly, let me also say I'm going to stop sharing. Let me also say that I'm going to, as soon as I'm finished recording, when I turn this off, I will be giving you my personal cell phone number. You can text, you can call, whatever, because you need to have access to somebody when you have questions. So just a moment, I'll be giving that to you. Does anybody have any questions that are broad and general or specific that might help the group?
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
You mentioned climate survey twice this year.
Yes.
Is that for staff and parents as well?
My assumption is that it is, but I don't know for sure, and I can't say absolutely. So I will find that out and share that when I get that information. Let's see. Rachel, you had a question. So talk about doing a universal screener district-wide regarding social emotional, such as SABRS. SABRS is a SEL screener that is part of the FastBridge suite. Our team in central office last year looked at SABRS and said, you know, it doesn't quite fit what we want. I can check with them to see that, you know, are we doing anything this year? I know that we've got CBITS has been renamed, and there's a couple different, so at 6th grade, there's something, but I'm not sure if there's a district-wide, you know, all grades, all students screener that we're talking about. So I can find that out and let you know what's up. So, Ashley, why is it that some DLI teachers don't have access to both level sets? That's an excellent question. I have no idea, and I will find out. So we'll take a look at that and hopefully get an answer to you in the next 24 to 48 hours. So, I mean, we need to get this going because the window is upon us. Okay, I'm going to end recording and then we'll still hang out. I'm going to give you my phone number in a moment and then we'll take any other questions. So